Imagine a mind so unshakable that no insult, no failure, and no setback can break it. A mind that remains firm like a mountain against the strongest winds of life's storms. This is not an illusion, nor is it an unattainable dream. It is a skill, a discipline that anyone can cultivate. In Buddhism, true strength is not about suppressing emotions or pretending pain does not exist. It is about mastering them, transforming chaos into clarity, and turning suffering into power. What if you could train your mind the way a warrior trains for battle? Sharpen it like a blade. Build an inner fortress so strong that nothing external could disturb your peace. The truth is, this level of mental mastery is possible. The path is ancient, tested by time, and practiced by those who seek true liberation. But what does it mean to become emotionally unbreakable? It means to live with a mind that does not waver in the face of challenges. A mind that remains calm when provoked, steady when faced with uncertainty, and composed when the world tries to shake it. It means being free, not from suffering itself, but from the grip suffering has over you. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges, if you have ever wished for a mind that remains strong no matter what, then this is the path you must walk. These are not just principles. They are weapons against fear, stress, and weakness. By the end of this journey, you will have the tools to master your emotions and take full control of your inner world. Let's begin. The first and most powerful principle is to cultivate the sacred pause, the ability to control your response to chaos. In Buddhism, mastering the ability to pause before reacting is one of the highest forms of self-control. This sacred pause is the space between an emotion arising and the action that follows. It is the moment where wisdom has the chance to intervene before impulse takes over. Imagine a warrior in battle. If they react to every attack without thought, they expose themselves to danger. But if they pause, assess the situation, and strike only when necessary, they remain in control. The same applies to your emotions. When anger flares up, when fear creeps in, or when frustration rises, instead of immediately acting, take a breath. Step back. Observe. Ask yourself, is my reaction going to make this situation better or worse? Am I acting from wisdom or from temporary emotions? Buddhism teaches that emotions are like waves, strong at first, but they always pass. If you react immediately, you are controlled by the wave. But if you pause, breathe, and allow it to settle, you remain in control. The more you practice this, the more unshakable you become. This is the way of the true warrior, not fighting chaos with more chaos, but meeting it with stillness, clarity, and strength. The second principle is to reframe every attack as a challenge to your mental fortress. True strength is not found in avoiding conflict or escaping negativity, but in transforming it into a tool for growth. Every insult, every criticism, and every setback is an opportunity. Not an opportunity to prove yourself to others, but an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are beyond the reach of these things. The Buddha himself faced relentless criticism, yet he remained unshaken. Why? Because he understood a profound truth. Insults only have power if you accept them. Imagine your mind as a fortress. If the walls are weak, even the smallest attack will cause them to crumble. But if the walls are strong, no force can bring them down. Every negative comment, every betrayal, and every challenge you face is a test of your mental strength. You can either react with anger and self-doubt, or you can train yourself to see these moments differently. The next time someone tries to bring you down, remind yourself, this is not an attack. This is an opportunity to grow stronger. Buddhism teaches detachment from ego. The more you let go of the need for approval, the more immune you become to negativity. Imagine someone throwing insults at you, but instead of feeling hurt, you simply observe them like leaves floating down a river. They come and they go, leaving you untouched. This is the ultimate strength, to be so deeply grounded in your inner peace that no external force can shake you. The third principle is to train yourself to embrace discomfort. In Buddhism, the path to true strength is not found in avoiding suffering, but in sitting with it, observing it, and realizing that it is impermanent. Just as a warrior trains their body and mind to endure the harshest conditions, true mental resilience comes from facing discomfort rather than running from it. Life is full of challenges: rejection, failure, loneliness, uncertainty. Most people try to escape these feelings through distractions, seeking comfort in food, entertainment, or temporary pleasures. But the Buddha taught that real freedom comes from facing suffering directly and seeing it for what it is, temporary and powerless, unless you allow it to control you. Instead of fearing discomfort, make it your training ground. When frustration arises, don't react, observe it. When fear creeps in, acknowledge it without allowing it to consume you. The more you expose yourself to discomfort without resistance, the stronger you become. This is why Buddhist monks practice long hours of meditation in silence, wearing simple robes, eating only what they need. It is not about suffering. It is about conditioning the mind to remain calm in any situation. Just like a warrior who undergoes grueling training to become unbreakable, you can train your mind the same way. Start small. Practice patience when waiting in line. Resist the urge to escape discomfort with distractions. Over time, discomfort loses its power over you, and you gain something far greater: inner mastery. The fourth principle is to use the perspective shift to turn problems into power. Suffering does not come from events themselves, but from how we interpret them. What one person sees as a disaster, another sees as an opportunity. This is the power of the perspective shift, the ability to reframe any challenge in a way that strengthens rather than weakens you. Imagine two people facing the same setback. Both lose their jobs. One sees it as a catastrophe, falling into despair. The other sees it as a new beginning, a chance to explore a different path. The event itself is the same, but the difference lies in the way they perceive it. Buddhism teaches that the mind creates reality. By shifting your perspective, you can transform obstacles into stepping stones. Whenever you encounter difficulty, pause and ask yourself, how can this situation serve me? What lesson can I learn? How can this make me stronger? Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, this is happening for me. Every challenge contains a hidden lesson, a chance to develop patience, wisdom, or resilience. The Buddha faced hardships, rejection, and even betrayal, yet he did not resist them. He used them as fuel for enlightenment. If you train yourself to see problems not as burdens, but as training for your inner strength, nothing in life can truly defeat you. The moment you master the perspective shift, you turn every difficulty into power. These principles are not just ideas, they are practices. They must be lived, tested, and reinforced daily. To cultivate the sacred pause, to reframe attacks as challenges, to embrace discomfort, and to shift your perspective, These are the foundations of an unshakable mind. Once you begin to implement them, you will notice a change. The things that once bothered you will no longer hold the same weight. The emotions that once controlled you will become tools for growth. And as you continue this path, you will find that you are no longer just reacting to life. You are mastering it. The path to becoming emotionally unbreakable is not about avoiding emotions or suppressing pain. It is about transforming them, turning every challenge into a stepping stone, every difficulty into training, and every hardship into fuel for wisdom. The mind, like a sword, must be sharpened, and the only way to sharpen it is through discipline, through practice, through embracing discomfort rather than fleeing from it. The fifth principle on this journey is to master the emotional transmutation technique. In Buddhism, emotions are not seen as inherently good or bad. They are simply energy, rising and falling like waves in the ocean. The key to emotional strength is not in eliminating emotions, but in learning how to channel them into something productive. This is emotional transmutation, the ability to take negative energy, such as anger or fear, and transform it into wisdom, discipline, or creativity. Think of fire. Fire can destroy, but it can also provide warmth, cook food, and forge metal. Your emotions work the same way. Instead of letting anger make you reckless, use it as fuel to push yourself forward. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze you, let it heighten your awareness and prepare you for challenges. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we attach ourselves to emotions, believing they define us. Instead of saying, "I am angry," recognize that anger is present, but it is not you. The moment you detach from an emotion, you gain power over it. A monk who feels frustration during meditation does not give up. He deepens his practice. A warrior who feels fear before battle does not retreat. He uses it to sharpen his focus. You can do the same. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, pause and ask yourself, how can I use this energy for my growth? Master this technique, and no emotion will ever control you again. The sixth principle is to adopt the Stoic observer mindset, becoming untouchable to external events. Buddhism teaches that suffering does not come from what happens to us, but from how we react to it. The Stoic observer mindset is about stepping back, watching your emotions without becoming consumed by them. Instead of being a victim of your feelings, you become an observer, detached and in control. Imagine sitting beside a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf represents a thought or an emotion: anger, fear, sadness. Instead of grabbing onto them, you simply watch them drift away. This is the Buddhist way, to acknowledge emotions without letting them define you. When something upsetting happens, instead of reacting immediately, take a breath and observe your inner response. The Buddha remained calm even when insulted because he understood a fundamental truth. No one can disturb your peace unless you allow them to. A person's words, actions, or opinions only have power over you if you attach importance to them. The Stoic observer does not chase happiness or resist discomfort. He remains steady, watching everything pass like clouds in the sky. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, practice this mindset. Say to yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am the observer. With time, you will develop a state of mind that is untouchable, one that remains unshaken no matter what happens. The seventh principle is to build a mental fortress through emotional fasting. One of the greatest sources of suffering in life is attachment. Attachment to comfort, to pleasure, to emotional indulgence. The more we rely on external validation, entertainment, or distractions to feel good, the weaker our minds become. Emotional fasting is the practice of voluntarily depriving yourself of unnecessary emotional indulgences so that your mind becomes strong, resilient, and independent. Just as physical fasting strengthens the body by teaching it to function without constant consumption, emotional fasting strengthens the mind by teaching it to remain stable without needing constant pleasure or reassurance. Most people go through life dependent on external sources for emotional stability. They need validation from others to feel confident. They seek comfort and entertainment to avoid discomfort. They indulge in instant gratification, whether through social media, food, or distractions, to escape boredom or frustration. Over time, this weakens their ability to handle adversity because they have never trained their minds to function without emotional crutches. Buddhism teaches that true inner peace comes from detachment, learning to be content without clinging to external sources of happiness. This is where emotional fasting comes in. Start by identifying what you emotionally consume the most. Do you constantly check your phone for validation? Do you rely on food or entertainment to escape stress? Do you react impulsively to emotions instead of sitting with them? Begin fasting from these emotional dependencies. Spend time in silence without distractions. Resist the urge to immediately comfort yourself when discomfort arises. Instead of reacting to boredom, frustration, or loneliness, sit with those emotions and observe them without judgment. Buddhist monks practice this principle daily. They do not seek constant pleasure or comfort because they understand that true strength comes from detachment. They eat simple meals, live without unnecessary luxuries, and spend hours in meditation, training their minds to be free. They do not need external sources to feel complete, because their peace comes from within. You can apply the same principles to your life. By reducing your need for instant gratification, you build the ability to endure discomfort without breaking. You develop patience, self-control, and mental resilience. Over time, emotional fasting transforms your mind into a fortress. You become less reactive. You become less dependent on external validation. You become more in control of your emotions. Life's ups and downs no longer throw you off balance because you have trained yourself to remain steady, regardless of what happens around you. You are no longer a slave to emotions. You master them. This is the essence of true inner strength, the path of the unshakable mind. The more you practice these principles, the more you will realize that external forces no longer control you. What once triggered an emotional reaction will no longer hold the same power. What once disturbed your peace will now seem insignificant. You are no longer reacting to life. You are mastering it. And as you continue this path, you will begin to experience something profound. A state of inner stillness, a deep, unwavering peace that cannot be disturbed by the chaos of the outside world, a mind that remains calm in the storm, a mind that is truly unbreakable. The journey to becoming emotionally unbreakable is not about avoiding hardship or pretending emotions do not exist. It is about transcending them, transforming every challenge into an opportunity for growth and developing a mind so resilient that nothing external can shake it. The principles of Buddhism provide the tools to build this level of strength, but they must be practiced daily, reinforced through discipline, and lived with intention. The eighth principle is to develop the no-reaction mastery, control what others can't. One of the highest forms of self-mastery is the ability to remain unmoved by external forces. The world constantly tests you. People will try to provoke you, situations will challenge your patience, and emotions will surge within you. But true strength lies in mastering the art of no reaction. The ability to stay calm, composed, and in control no matter what happens. The moment you stop reacting to negativity, you take away its power. Most people are ruled by their emotions. When someone insults them, they react with anger. When faced with frustration, they complain. When things don't go their way, they lash out. But reacting impulsively gives control to the external world. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we attach to these reactions, when we allow them to dictate our inner peace. To break free, you must train yourself in non-reaction. Imagine someone trying to start a fire with wet wood. It doesn't catch. In the same way, when people try to provoke you, and you do not react, their negativity loses its fuel. This is why Buddhist monks practice silence and mindfulness. They observe their emotions without becoming slaves to them. They understand that reacting impulsively only leads to more suffering. Instead of engaging with negativity, they remain still, letting it pass like a storm that comes and goes. Practicing no-reaction mastery does not mean suppressing emotions or avoiding confrontation. It means choosing your response with wisdom. When someone insults you, instead of immediately defending yourself, pause and ask, does this truly affect me, or is my ego reacting? Is this worth my energy? When frustration arises, instead of acting on impulse, breathe and observe it like a passing cloud. The more you train yourself to remain calm in difficult moments, the more power you gain over your own mind. Buddhism teaches that your true power lies in your ability to control what others cannot. People can try to provoke you, but they cannot force you to react. They can insult you, but they cannot dictate your emotions. They can attempt to bring you down, but they cannot take your inner peace unless you give it away. Once you master this mindset, you become untouchable. No matter what happens, you remain steady, unshaken, and in complete control. This is the power of no-reaction mastery, a mind so strong that nothing external can break it. The ninth principle is to use dark visualization to become unstoppable. In Buddhism, one of the most profound teachings is the acceptance of suffering, loss, and impermanence. Most people avoid thinking about worst-case scenarios because they fear them. But what if, instead of running from your fears, you confronted them head-on? What if you trained your mind to face darkness so that, when adversity comes, you are already stronger than it? This is the power of dark visualization, a technique that allows you to prepare for life's hardships in advance, making you emotionally unbreakable. Many people live in denial, assuming that good times will last forever. They avoid thinking about loss, failure, and struggle. But when hardship inevitably strikes, they are unprepared, shocked, and overwhelmed. In contrast, Buddhist monks and Stoic philosophers practice contemplating suffering regularly, not to create fear, but to strip fear of its power. They meditate on impermanence, imagining scenarios like losing everything they own, facing rejection or betrayal, experiencing deep loss or even death. By visualizing these events in advance, they train their minds to accept them so that if they ever happen in reality, they remain strong and composed. The Buddha taught that suffering is a natural part of life, and the more we resist it, the more it controls us. By practicing dark visualization, you shift your perspective. Instead of fearing hardship, you embrace it as an inevitable part of existence. Instead of seeing setbacks as punishment, you see them as training. Instead of being surprised by life's challenges, you are prepared for them before they even arrive. If you visualize failure in advance, you won't panic when it happens. If you contemplate loss, you will appreciate what you have even more. If you consider your mortality, you will stop wasting time on meaningless distractions and focus on what truly matters. This practice also applies to emotional resilience. When you prepare for betrayal, criticism, or rejection, you take away their ability to shake you. If you expect people to disappoint you at some point, you won't take it personally when it happens. If you visualize handling adversity with strength and grace, your mind will naturally respond that way when challenges arise. In Buddhism, this is known as training the mind, building a mental blueprint for how you will respond to life's storms before they even arrive. Great warriors, Buddhist monks, and leaders throughout history have used this technique to remain steady in the face of difficulty. While others panic in crisis, those who have trained their minds through dark visualization remain calm, collected, and in control. The practice does not make life easier, but it makes you stronger. You develop a mindset that nothing can break because you have already faced your fears in your mind. Start by setting aside time each day to visualize difficulties. Imagine yourself losing something valuable. Imagine yourself facing rejection or being in a tough situation. But don't just see the problem, visualize yourself handling it with wisdom and strength. Feel the emotions, acknowledge them, and let them pass. The more you do this, the more mentally prepared you become. When real adversity strikes, you will no longer be surprised, overwhelmed, or weak. You will face it with the mindset of someone who has already conquered it before it even happened. This is what makes you unstoppable. You do not just hope for good times, you train for the bad ones. And because of that, nothing, no loss, no failure, no hardship will ever break you. The final principle is to create a life code that becomes your unbreakable identity. In Buddhism, true strength comes not from temporary motivation, but from having a deep, unshakable foundation. A personal code that defines who you are, how you think, and how you respond to life. Without a guiding philosophy, people drift through life, reacting to circumstances, changing based on their emotions, and being influenced by external pressures. But those who create a personal life code, a set of principles they live by, become unbreakable. They are not controlled by impulses or opinions. They are guided by purpose, discipline, and clarity. A life code is not just a list of values. It is an internal contract with yourself. It is a set of unshakable principles that determine your actions regardless of how you feel in the moment. When you have a strong personal philosophy, challenges do not shake you because you already know how you will respond. To create your own life code, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What principles will I never compromise? What mindset will I carry in every situation? Write down the rules you will follow no matter what. Example, life code statements. I will not allow emotions to dictate my actions. I will remain calm in all situations, no matter how difficult. I will detach from what I cannot control. I will never complain about hardship. I will only seek solutions. I will act with wisdom, not impulse. Once you define your life code, the next step is to live by it every day. When faced with difficulties, You do not hesitate. Your values have already made the decision for you. This is what makes you truly unbreakable. You are no longer controlled by emotions, circumstances, or external forces. You become the master of your mind, your emotions, and your life.